Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. Ready for another deep dive with us today?
Always.
Awesome. I am pumped for this one.
Me too.
All right, so today we are going to be diving into this motivational video.
Okay.
And get this, it's in French.
Interesting.
So I don't speak
I
French,
was going to say.
but luckily we have, an expert here who can translate all the golden nuggets from this.
Yeah, I can break it down and give you the good stuff that I found in this video.
Awesome. Yeah, and I mean it's really amazing even just watching it, like the energy is so powerful, and I feel like even not understanding the language, you can still get a sense of the message.
Yeah, it's pretty captivating.
Totally. So, right off the bat, the speaker hits us with this analogy
Hey.
of the race to existence.
Hmm.
And he talks about like how there were 100 million other like competitors that we each faced just to be born.
Wow.
Like, can you imagine that?
That's an incredible way to think about it.
Yeah.
I talk about beating the odds, right?
Yeah.
You know, we talk about achievement and success and this and that, but the very fact that we are here
Right.
is an incredible achievement.
No, it's so powerful.
And to kind of put that at the forefront,
Yeah.
to use that as a starting point
Yeah.
really sets the stage for,
Yeah.
what he's saying, which is like, we all have this incredible potential.
Right.
So, and he's using that analogy to really illustrate that,
Right. Yeah, and it makes you think about, even beyond just being born, all of the challenges that we've overcome in life
Right.
to get to this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's really cool how he uses that to set the stage. And then from there, he really jumps into like self-confidence and like setting high standards for yourself.
Yeah, he's big on self-confidence,
Yeah.
and he's very clear that, this is not about arrogance.
Right.
It's about recognizing your worth.
Mm.
And he even uses examples like, turning down low-paying gigs.
Oh,
And it's like, your time is valuable. Your skills are valuable.
right.
Don't settle for, something that's beneath you, so to speak.
Yeah, and I can definitely relate to that. Like, there have been times where I've, taken on projects that didn't really align with my goals or my values,
Mm-hmm.
and it never felt quite right,
You feel it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and this kind of leads into another point that he makes, which is personal evolution.
Okay.
So as we learn and grow, as we
Yeah.
evolve as individuals,
Mm-hmm.
it's natural that, our paths might diverge from those around us who
Yeah.
haven't necessarily, changed at the same pace or
Yeah.
gone in the same direction or whatever it is.
Yeah, and this isn't about, judging anyone, right? It's just recognizing that
It's-
they're on a journey.
Yeah, your journey might lead you
Yeah.
to a place where other people can't or don't want to follow.
Right, and that's okay.
That's okay. And in fact, sometimes it's, there might be people who haven't evolved in the same way, who might even try to hold you back.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And maybe unconsciously, right?
Yeah.
Like out of fear or just lack of understanding.
Ooh, totally. It's like they're projecting their
Well,
fears
that's
onto
true, yeah.
you.
It's like crabs in a bucket,
Yeah.
they're trying to pull each other down.
I know, it's so true. Yeah. That's such a good point. And I think it's, it's not about leaving people behind intentionally or anything like that. It's just recognizing that
Right.
personal growth can sometimes change
Yeah.
the dynamic of relationships.
Absolutely.
So,
And, this next part is where things get really interesting.
okay.
He connects material possessions to our standards. He talks about things like cars, watches, even haircuts
Okay.
as a reflection of, the standards that we set for ourselves.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say, like, at first I was like, wait, is he saying that, like, my, love for a fancy coffee is like a sign of high standards? Right.
But it's more about like,
It's not about the object itself.
Yeah.
It's about the underlying message.
Right.
Do these things represent your goals and values? Do
Right.
they reflect the level of self-respect that you have?
okay,
You
got it.
It's a different way of thinking about it.
Yeah, it makes you think about how all of those little choices kind of add up.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Now, he doesn't say you should never compromise.
Okay. Right.
He actually talks about making, strategic temporary compromises.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to learning.
Okay, so like taking on an unpaid internship or
Exactly.
gain experience or,
Right.
learning a new skill, even if it means starting at a lower level than you're used to.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about recognizing that sometimes short-term compromises
Right.
can be stepping stones
Stepping stones, yeah.
to your long-term goals.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's a good point because I think sometimes we get so caught up in like I need to be at this level. I need to be making this much money. I need to have this title.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, sometimes you gotta,
Take a step back.
yeah, take a step back to take 2 steps forward.
Right, and it's like investing.
Yeah,
You're putting in the time and effort now
totally.
for a greater payoff later.
Love that analogy. Yeah, and then speaking of putting in the work, he shares this really inspiring story about visualizing success.
Okay.
And he talks about how he had this vision of becoming a champion,
Hmm.
but he faced a lot of skepticism from other people.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it sounds like, they didn't really believe in his dream.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, how did he overcome that negativity?
So he held on to his vision.
Okay.
He persevered despite the doubt, and in the end,
Yeah.
he achieved what he set out to do.
Wow.
You know,
That's incredible.
so it's a powerful testament to the idea that, our beliefs can really shape our reality.
Totally. And it makes you wonder what dreams have we put aside
Right.
because of, other people's doubts?
Right.
What could we achieve if we really leaned into that power of visualization?
It's a good question.
Yeah, so powerful.
Yeah, it really is. It's so easy to let those doubts creep in.
Totally.
But he really challenges us to examine those, limiting beliefs.
For sure. For sure. And that leads into another point that he makes that really got me thinking.
Okay.
He says, humans are not equal.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah.
Right.
It is a bold statement.
But if you listen to his explanation,
Right.
it's not about, promoting any kind of hierarchy or discrimination.
Right.
It's actually about the beauty of individuality.
Okay.
And he uses examples like, why one person might be chosen for a job over another, why some people achieve greater success in certain areas. It's just about acknowledging that we all have different strengths, weaknesses, and paths.
Right. So comparing ourselves to other people is just
It's a pointless exercise.
yeah, it's pointless.
We each have our own unique potential to discover and develop.
Totally. So it's not about being better than anyone else,
Exactly.
but being the best version of ourselves.
Yes.
I love that. Okay. So then he goes on to say, the world takes you as you sell yourself. What does that mean?
Okay, so is he talking about being boastful or arrogant?
Yeah. Is that what he means?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
I think it's more about the importance of self-confidence and authenticity. If you believe in yourself
Yeah.
and your abilities, other people are more likely to see that too.
Okay. So it's owning your strengths and presenting yourself in a way that
Exactly.
aligns with your goals.
Precisely.
Got it.
It's about, recognizing your value and not being afraid to let it shine.
I like that. Okay, so then he leads into this other point. He says, "You will lose feathers, but you will gain wings."
Okay. That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
What do you think he's trying to convey there?
I think it speaks to the inevitable challenges and maybe even losses we experience as we grow and evolve,
Okay.
right? Sometimes relationships change, beliefs are challenged,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to let go of certain things to make space for new growth.
So the lost feathers represent the things we leave behind,
Exactly.
and the wings symbolize the new strengths and freedoms we gain.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah.
You know.
I like that a lot. So it's about embracing those growing pains, knowing that they're part of the journey of becoming our best selves.
Absolutely. And he doesn't shy away from addressing those who might try to hold us back,
Right? Even people we're close to.
Exactly. Even people we're close to. He even uses this powerful example of a group of security guards where anyone expressing a desire for more was met with negativity.
Oh, wow.
And their fear of change was projected onto others.
It's like their own insecurities.
Yes, manifesting as trying to keep other people small.
And they might not even be aware of it.
Right. It's not always intentional.
Right.
But I think he encourages us to be mindful of those influences and to surround ourselves with people who uplift and inspire us.
Absolutely. And I think that's a key takeaway here. We have a choice.
Yeah.
In who we allow to influence our lives.
Totally.
We can choose to surround ourselves with people who believe in our potential.
Right.
And encourage us to grow.
And then he makes this distinction between friendship and shared standards.
Right.
You can be friends with people from all walks of life, but it doesn't mean you have to have the same ambitions or lifestyle choices.
Exactly. It's a great reminder that relationships can add richness and diversity to our lives.
Yeah.
Without requiring us to compromise our own individuality.
Totally. And he has this great line. He says, your standard establishes you in reality.
Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about defining who you are and what you stand for, right?
Yeah. Exactly, aligning your actions with your values and creating a life that truly reflects
Yeah.
your deepest aspirations.
Awesome. And remember, he's not saying you should never compromise.
Right.
Like we talked about earlier, sometimes strategic compromises are necessary to reach your goals.
Yeah, taking on that unpaid internship or learning from someone with different standards but valuable knowledge.
Exactly.
It's about having a long-term vision
Yeah.
and making choices that support that vision,
Mm-hmm.
even if they involve short-term sacrifices.
Totally. Yeah, for sure. And then he also emphasizes the importance of not conforming to other people's expectations.
Yeah.
He talks about, refusing to accept low pay for a performance or not lowering his standards in relationships just to please others.
It's not about being disrespectful.
Right.
It's about recognizing your worth and setting healthy boundaries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being selective about the company we keep.
Absolutely.
Surrounding ourselves with people who uplift and inspire us rather than those who try to drag us down.
He's got some strong words
He does.
for those who try to dim our shine.
He does.
He basically says, don't waste your time trying to please people who are determined to be negative.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on your own journey.
Mm.
Let your success speak for itself.
And he has this great metaphor. You will lose feathers, but you will gain wings.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's such a beautiful way of saying that growth can be challenging, but it ultimately leads to greater freedom
Yeah.
and the ability to soar to new heights.
Totally. So it's about not being afraid to stand out, to be different, to embrace our individuality, even if it means facing criticism or losing some feathers along the way.
Because in the end, those lost feathers will be replaced by wings
Yes.
that allow us to reach our full potential.
I love that. Yeah, it's so inspiring to hear someone talk about authenticity like that.
It is.
It reminds us that our experiences, our perspectives, they have value.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And he encourages us to not be afraid to share those experiences, to let our true self shine through, even if it means, standing out from the crowd a little bit.
Totally. And he even cautions against being what he calls a scammer.
Okay.
Someone who pretends to have knowledge or experience that they don't possess.
Right.
So it's about being genuine.
Right, yes. And that ties back to his point about speaking from experience.
Right.
Share what you know,
Mm-hmm.
what you've learned, what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
That's where true connection and impact lie.
Totally. It's a good reminder that authenticity is always, more compelling than trying to be someone you're not.
For sure.
And it all comes back to that core message, believing in yourself, setting high standards, and taking action.
He says the world belongs to the bold. And I think that sums it up perfectly.
I love that.
It's an invitation to step into our power and create a life that reflects our truest selves.
This whole video has been such a journey.
It has.
Even though it's in a language I don't understand,
Right.
it just shows that these ideas of personal growth and reaching your potential, they're universal.
They are. It's amazing how a fresh perspective, even from an unexpected source, can reignite our passion and motivation.
Totally. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious what resonated with you the most. What's one key takeaway you'll carry with you?
For me, it's the emphasis on both personal evolution and the power of visualization.
Okay.
We can't just sit back and wait for things to happen. We need to actively envision our goals and then take steps to make them a reality.
I love that. And I think it ties in beautifully with his point about surrounding ourselves with supportive people.
Yes.
Those who believe in our potential and challenge us to grow.
Absolutely. It's about creating a positive and inspiring environment where we can truly thrive.
Well, this has been such a thought-provoking deep dive, and I hope it's inspired you as much as it has inspired me. If you had to choose just one action to take today, one small step towards a goal that really matters to you, what would it be?
Hold on to that thought. And remember, the world truly does belong to the bold. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep diving deep.